Good afternoon and welcome to today's webinar. Today's webinar title is Preparing for the Small Business Journey in Indian Country. Today is Thursday, April 11th, and your instructor today is going to be Russ Siegel, Executive Director of the Sequoia Fund. My name is Alyssa Atkins, and I am the Training and Development Coordinator for the Native Learning Center, and today I will be your webinar facilitator. Just a quick disclaimer before we get started. This webinar provides a summary of fundamental concept requirements and/or procedures within the allotted 90 minutes. The material discussed does not illustrate all possible scenarios that could be applicable. Also displayed here is our copyright infringement law. This is just a friendly reminder that the webinar presentation materials are protected by copyright, trademark, trade secret, and other intellectual property laws. Now, if you look at your screen, you should see a hand at the top. With that hand, you can raise hand, agree, disagree, show applause, show laughter, or even signal a request like asking the instructor to speak louder or slow down, please. To the bottom left, you will see a pod that says Files. Here, you will find any handouts or appendix items included in today's presentation. Please feel free to download a copy for yourself. Just hover over the item you want to download with your mouse and click the arrow pointing downwards to download and save onto your device. Once the item is downloaded, it should appear in your device's download section. The second pod to the right, labeled Web Links, is where you will find our survey about today's webinar, along with the link to receive our weekly newsletter. Connect with the Native Learning Center on LinkedIn and any other links that will be seen throughout today's presentation. Finally, to the right of the screen, we have a chat pod available. This is how you will communicate with instructor and NLC staff. If you have any questions during the presentation, we welcome you to send them in by using the chat box. Simply type your message into the space that says type here and hit enter or click that up arrow icon button to submit. We do encourage class participation, so please feel free to write in those questions or comments. Tech support issues should also be submitted here. Know that most can be solved by leaving and rejoining the meeting room. Let's all get the chat box going together now by typing in your name, where you're joining us from, your tribal affiliation, and your work or role in Indian country. Also, an important note, if anyone is viewing today's webinar as a group, maybe sitting with a colleague or a friend, please make sure to email me. I'm putting my email address into the chat now. We need accurate registration data for our records, and with it, we can also make sure we are able to send a completion certificate to everyone attending today. And with that, and today's webinar is also being recorded. And with that, I am proud to introduce Russ Siegel.
Thank you, Wista. Welcome, everybody. Thanks for spending this time with me today. We're going to move quickly over the next hour and a half. So I do encourage you to go ahead and download your participant worksheets. I also encourage you to download the presentation itself. It's pretty content rich. You'll see that there are some slides that have a lot of information on them today. We're going to move pretty quickly through some of these, so you may want to have these to refer back to, and as well as your business plan template. This is definitely something that's going to help you in your small business journey. As you get started writing that plan, this fill in the blank template is going to give you a way to take all of the information swimming around in your head and put it on paper. It's a great way to get started writing that plan, and it allows you to put it in front of others who you trust to give you some really good feedback about your business concept and your plan. So I am the CEO of the Sequoia Fund. We are a native CDFI serving the Eastern Band of Cherokee Indians in Western North Carolina. So we cover a fairly small segment of the Appalachians in the far western tip of North Carolina. And you'll see here a picture of me in one of my happy places. This is along the Appalachian Trail. And that's really the genesis of this presentation. Starting a business is a lot like going backpacking or spending some time out in the wilderness. If you've ever been on the Appalachian Trail, or if you've ever been in the far western corner of North Carolina, you know, it's pretty dark and snaky over here in places. It's a little rugged, and there are some places where people can get lost and have gotten lost and have even lost their lives in these mountains, because as mountains go, conditions can change pretty quickly. You prepare for one thing and something else happens, and then all of a sudden you're in trouble. Well, starting a business is no different. And so you'll find that the preparations that I have made for backpacking and spending some time out in the wilderness is going to connect up quite nicely to what we're doing here in our small businesses. I just want you to be prepared. I want you to pack the right provisions. I want you to wear the right clothing. I want you to be in the right shape and condition to be able to do this. I've been on hiking trips, backpacking trips where one of my older friends turned around about a third of the way into the hike. He said, "I've got to go back. I'm not built for this anymore. I'm just too old for it." And knowing our limitations is extremely important. We want to make sure that we are ready for this. It can be an emotional roller coaster. It can be a physically demanding activity, starting a new business. So this is the trail we're going to follow today. And I'm going to move quickly through this list because we're going to jump right into these. Again, we've got about 40 slides that we want to get through in the next hour and a half. Some of these things I'm going to move slowly through, but some others I'm going to move pretty quickly. We're going to start out by talking about your why, because that feeds directly into your mission statement. And if you don't have a good mission statement, you don't really have a foundation for writing your business plan and getting your business started on the right foot. So we're going to talk about the business planning, the good, the bad, and the ugly. We're going to talk about how to get funding for your plan, but also there are other reasons you want to write a business plan. One is to get funding, of course. The other is to provide a working guide for your business, something that you can rely on to find your direction. You know, sometimes we call a business plan your roadmap for the business. I like to think of it more as a GPS. A GPS is pretty quick to reroute you when things go sideways. If an obstacle comes up in your path, a map is a little bit harder to read because it's static. A GPS will just calmly reroute you. And your business plan should be dynamic. It should be something that you can use to get from here to where you want to be. We're going to talk about building marketing gravity, sustainability, funding your venture, how to talk to lenders and investors. I'm going to give you something that is the best business education you'll ever get. You're probably not going to like it at all. Nobody ever does. But it really is the best business education you'll ever get. And finally, we're going to talk about how to stay healthy on the trail. You know, if you want to go a long distance and you want to have plenty of calories, you want to have plenty of good calories, things that are going to keep you sustained as you go into the backwoods and as you do your thing. You want to be able to find water and all that good stuff as you move along. So there is something about staying healthy as you go through this business planning process and as you get your business started, so that you can do what you're there to do. If you don't take care of yourself, you're not going to be good or any good to anyone else. So let's start with that in mind. Okay, a business only exists to serve customers and make money. If you don't have any customers, you won't make money. And if you don't make money, you won't have any customers. Now, there are a lot of other reasons your business may exist. There are other reasons you may want to start a business. There are things that you want to do, goals you want to reach. Maybe you have some objectives for your family that you want to accomplish. But at its core, your business has to make money. People come to us all the time and they say, well, I want to start a business because I want to take care of the children. I want to save the trees. I want to save the whales. Okay, that's great. Do all of those things. Those are an owner's prerogative. Those are an owner's objective. But your business objective needs to be make money, because if you don't make money, then none of those other objectives matter. You won't be able to achieve any of those other objectives. So if we can stay focused on let's figure out a way to help this business make money. Now, I say this up front because there are a lot of times when people start businesses and they focus on things that don't make money. Simply enough, they focus on, oh, what does the furniture in the lobby need to look like? How big a desk do I need? How fast does my computer need to be? How nice a car do I need to drive? If you're in the real estate business, you probably need to have a nice car because you want to take people around to different properties, and you want to put your best foot forward and show them that you're going to take care of them and that you mean business. Otherwise, if you can get by with a van and a computer and a cell phone, you probably don't need to worry too much about an office. But we spend a lot of time thinking about things on the periphery, things that are not core to helping us make money. So what is your why? Why does your business exist? Why do you want to do this? Only you can answer that question, but you need to be able to answer that question. Money is not going to be the answer. Money will motivate you for a little while, but psychologists classify money as something called a hygiene factor, which means that it's just like air and water. Once you have enough clean air, having more clean air is not an incentive to breathe more or breathe more deeply. Having clean water, once you have enough, is not an incentive to drink more water. Well, once you have enough money to do the things you want to do, getting more money, while it's an excellent scorecard, it's not necessarily a motivator. Motivators are those things that get you out of bed in the morning. Motivators are those things that keep you going even on the worst day, when you don't want to get out of bed in the morning. Your why kicks in and takes over. You also need to define what your overt benefit is. What is that benefit that really just hits people between the eyes? It's inescapable. It's something that people cannot ignore. And it's a benefit that having your business brings that benefit. And if your business didn't exist, people would miss out on it. So what is the benefit you offer? Okay. So if I'm going on a trip, I don't want to carry everything individually. I don't want to grab up a big armload of food and clothing and rain gear. I want to be able to put that in a backpack. So the overt benefit my backpack offers is that I can carry all the things I need in one place, and it's convenient. It fits right on my back. It may be heavy at times, but it's going to go where I go. What is the benefit you bring to the market? What will your business provide you? Now, small business owners, people who start businesses are really, really good at thinking about how we're going to help customers, how we're going to provide for employees, how we're going to pay suppliers, how we're going to schedule time with clients and take care of clients. We're really, really bad at outlining how our business provides for us. What's the benefit that it provides for us? How does it feed us? You have to be very clear about that. You want to know what this business is doing for you, because if you're constantly feeding your business and caring for your business, but it is not providing anything for you, it's not producing income, it's not giving you satisfaction, it's not providing the life you want. Nobody says, I'm going to start a business because I need to do something that's going to completely suck the life force out of me and cause me to be exhausted and grumpy all the time. And yet, that's what people do. So if you're going to start this business, you want to know that it's going to give something back to you. You need to be able to articulate that, write that down. And that might be something that you don't show anyone else. You may not need to show that to anyone else, but there's got to be something there that your business gives you. I want you to think about all of the other non-business things going on in your life, because when you start a business, you don't start this business in a bubble. There are other things happening. You have people who place demands on you. You have family. You have friends. Maybe you have social organizations or religious organizations that depend on you, and you enjoy being involved in those. Well, you can't cut everything in your life off just to start a business. And there are people who say, I think there's a new term now called monk mode, M-O-N-K, monk mode, where you just cut everything off and you focus entirely on your business for 6 months to a year. Well, anybody I've ever seen who's done that has a relatively successful start, but they don't necessarily have a happy life. You can have both. You can be surrounded by friends and family who love you. You can do things for your friends and family. You can do things for you that don't involve your business, but you can still work on your business. Now, who gets top billing in your life? Starting a business is hard enough when you have people who support you. But if there are people who are close to you, who are constantly pushing against you, trying to discourage you from starting this business, that makes it even more difficult. But I want you to think about what you would do for them. What would you do to protect and secure, impress and improve them? Are you willing to do that for your business? Are you willing to use your business to do that for the people you love? Are you willing to say, I have to miss a ball game so that I can put groceries on the table? I have to miss a basketball game, or I have to miss a school play so that I can meet with a very important client who's going to make sure that we are financially secure for the next year or the next decade. Where do you spend your energy? How do you make time for those activities? What do you give up for those activities? What do you spend your time on? Your time and your energy go hand in hand. How much time do you devote to things? Maybe you're learning how to play the guitar. Maybe you're learning how to play the violin or the piano, and you want to devote some time to learning, or maybe a foreign language. Maybe you're trying to learn something that you've never learned before. Why is that important to you? And how do you hold fast to those things? You see, in this list, in this slide, I'm not trying to say that you need to give up all of these things for your business. We have to acknowledge that these things exist. We have to acknowledge the other parts of our life that we want to hang on to so that we can figure out where our business startup fits in. And you can, again, do it all to a degree. It may not come as fast as you want it to, but I tend to think that people who blend their life and their work and their business startup tend to be a little happier. From my 25 plus years of experience, that has been the case. What do you spend your money on? What are you willing to save up for? Now, I guess I should ask here, are you willing to save up for your business? Are you willing to put the business on hold until you get your financial house in order? What are you willing to sacrifice for your business? What are you willing to go into debt for? Are you willing to take on debt to start this business? If you're a follower of Dave Ramsey, you may not be willing to take on any debt, and that's fine. That's an individual choice. But always think about how you spend your money, where you direct your money. I mean, when we were starting our first business, I would order iced tea when we would go out to eat. And my wife would remind me that iced tea at home is much cheaper than iced tea in the restaurant, and I could drink water. And she was absolutely right. She still, 35 years later, reminds me of that. So again, these are questions that only you can answer. Then we take all the answers to all of these questions that we've asked, and we sit down and look at what is your mission and what is your vision. Your mission reflects your vision statement, but your vision also says what would happen in the world if I accomplish my mission. Your mission statement is the very reason you exist. It's just a statement of why we're here. You want to develop that from the customer's perspective, because the reason you exist might differ from the reason your customer thinks you exist. And sometimes when businesses fail, what I see is a disconnect. I'm doing this business for me, me, me. It's all about me. It's what I want. I carry the products I want. I work when I want. I schedule customers when I want. I do what I want, but I don't look at it from the customer's perspective. And so I am setting myself up to fail. You want to design your mission statement, and we're going to get into that a little bit. We want to design the mission statement from the customer's perspective. Your vision statement is going to describe what you contribute to society. Again, what does the world look like in the future if I accomplish the mission? If this business does what we say it's going to do, that we're going to develop from our perspective. Yes, this is where we get to look internally and say, this is all about us. This is what I want the world to look like. This is how I want to change the world. I'm going to give you some examples of these in just a moment. So your mission statement asks, why are you here? You're going to look back at your values, your big why, the reason for your company to exist. And then what do? You want to be clear. You want to be able to communicate to people the problem you solve and the good feeling you create. And by the way, no matter what business you're in, these are really the only two things you sell. You sell a solution to a problem and a good feeling. Businesses that focus on doing those two things succeed and far outpace businesses that just want to make money, that just want to do better next month than they did this month. Focus not on your product or your service, but focus on how that product or service solves a problem and creates a good feeling. And we also want to use our mission statement to talk about the people we serve. We want to be able to describe the people who need us to exist and how they benefit from us being around. So here are some sample mission statements. I'll just give you the third one. Again, you can read through these. I do encourage you to download all these slides. The primary mission of Eagle Home Health is to care for our customers. We will accomplish this by establishing and promoting a safe, caring environment. Mission number 2, it's a little bit longer. Mission statement of Smith's Home Healthcare is to offer quality healthcare to patients in their own homes. We believe we can improve the professional development of our staff and well-being of our patients by providing a supportive, respectful work environment. So again, talking about a couple different things, but sometimes our past comes out in our mission statement. If somebody has worked in a place where you didn't have a supportive, respectful work environment, when you build a company, you want to make sure that exists. So that becomes very important to you. So use some sample mission statements, and remember that you've got companies that have two types of mission statements. I'll give you an example. Honda Motor Company. Their external mission statement is very close to the first mission statement you see here in this example. They talk about their external shareholders. They talk about their customers. They talk about their employees. They talk about their philosophy, how they want to increase shareholder value, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, blah, blah, blah. Their internal mission statement very clearly paints the lines on the playing field. It says, we make engines. We make engines. That's it. When they have discussions and they have strategy meetings and things like that, if somebody's talking about making a new fly fishing rod, the first question somebody needs to ask is, what type of engine does this fly fishing rod have? If it doesn't have an engine, we're not talking about it because it doesn't fit within our mission statement. The mission statement puts the guardrails on the highway for you, and it keeps you lined up toward your goals. You need to be able to describe your business and your customers. Your mission statement needs to be broad enough to cover new products and services. For example, you wouldn't want a mission statement that says, we make the best left-handed catcher's mitts in minor league baseball. Well, that sort of limits you to making catcher's mitts for other levels of baseball, maybe right-handed catcher's mitts. Maybe you want to get into infielder gloves or outfielder gloves. Maybe you want to get into making bats and even baseballs. But if your mission statement boxes you in, that's going to be a problem for you down the road. You want it to be, again, broad enough to cover some new things, but narrow enough to give you some focus. Much like choosing a business name, you want it to kind of tell what you do, but again, not paint you into a corner. Your vision statement, again, is going to describe the way the world looks if you accomplish your mission. You're going to have two types of change. One is external. What is going to be better about the world? But internally, how is your business going to look in the future? Michael Gerber, and I'm going to put his name in the chat box here. Michael Gerber is an author. He wrote the E-Myth. The E-Myth Revisited. If you have a chance to read that book, I encourage you to read it. The E-Myth was his first iteration. The E-Myth Revisited is very specific to small businesses. It is dated. Yes, there are going to be some things in there about how you should, I don't know, don't wear brown shoes with a blue suit, which again, that's totally outdated now too. But there are going to be some things in there that are dated. But the gist of the book is that we need to work on the business, not in the business. And Michael Gerber believes that one of the best ways to do that is to envision what the business looks like in 5 years. 5 years down the road, what do your customers look like? What does your interior look like? What do your sales look like? What does your bookkeeping look like? And then you work backward from that to today. And all along the way, you're setting some intermediate milestones, things that are going to help you get to looking like you believe your business will look in 5, 10, 20 years. Your vision statements are going to be future focused. It's nothing that you're doing now. It's going to be what you are in the future. It's going to serve as a guide to your plans and strategies. Again, when you're starting to come up with a plan, if you have a work plan for the year and you say, we should really do this, does it fit with your vision? Is it going to get you closer to your vision, or is it going to take you farther away? Your vision statement should be pretty specific. It needs to be clear, because the clearer it is, the more motivating it will be. It needs to be relevant and purpose-driven. You want to be able to respond to the challenges of the day, but also be prepared to respond to whatever challenges you might face in the future. This might come down to people development, training, those types of things. It needs to give an indication of your values. It needs to imply the values that are required to support the organization. This is going to help you when you hire people. So you're not just hiring people to fill a job. You're hiring people who share your values, who want the same things that you want, and see and believe in the same vision that you believe in. It needs to challenge people. It needs to be unique and a little bit memorable. I've always said that, if you want to have some fun, Wendy's restaurants, I think almost every Wendy's restaurant puts their mission statement and vision statement on a plaque, and they put it right by the cash register. If you ever want to go in and have some fun, ask people to recite the mission statement. They probably can't do it, and it's no more than an arm's reach away from them. Your vision statement needs to inspire people. It needs to inspire you. So here are some sample vision statements. To become the world's most loved, most flown, and most profitable airline. I'm going to give you just a second if you know who that describes. Who came up with that vision statement? What airline does that fit with? To become the world's most loved, most flown, and most profitable airline. And I'm not seeing any typing going on, so I'm going to go down to number 2, a world without Alzheimer's disease. Wow. So if you have an organization that is dedicated to research and eradication of Alzheimer's disease, then that is a wonderful vision statement. Vision statement I put mission statement, but this is vision statement number 3. Vision statement number 3, every home a safe home. So every home a safe home is the vision statement of an organization. I used to sit on the board of a domestic violence organization, and it was our goal to make sure that eventually we would work ourselves out of a job. We would no longer be needed if every home was a safe home. And Deneen got it right. Vision 1 is Southwest Airlines. Absolutely. They've dropped the ball a little bit in the last couple of years, but you win the prize, and Deneen, the prize today is $1 million. I will be sending the check to your home address. But again, you see what these sample vision statements are looking at. They're very, very concise, very brief, but every one of them is inspiring in its own way. Look, our customers are smarter than they've ever been. Everything that they ever wanted to know about you, about your product, about your industry is in their pocket. It's at their fingertips. Now, they're probably just using it to have political arguments and show pictures of their cats. Again, personal choice. But they have access to this. So we cannot bluff our way through interactions with our customers ever again. They're going to find out if we're lying. Fake it till you make it is old news. Our customers are also less loyal than ever. If you use a laundry detergent because your mother used it, because her mother used it, because her grandmother used it, that world almost does not exist anymore. Product loyalty has gone out the window in the last 2 decades. Started before that. It started in the mid 90s. The new generation coming up said, "Hey, I'm gonna do what's best for me. Brands mean nothing to me." Well, brands mean nothing to us except for those brands that do, right? I don't care what kind of dish detergent we use, but I will fight you over these tennis shoes. These are the best tennis shoes, and you'll never convince me otherwise. But thanks to Walmart and Amazon, with 24-hour stores and a buy now button that Amazon introduced that said, "Hey, I want this now, send it to me," and now I can get it overnight, and in some cities I can get it within an hour. Oh my goodness, we have become a very impatient society. Our customers want what they want when they want it. Now, if they can't get the high quality product from you, if they can't get that great mountain hardware camping gear from you, because it's going to take them 2 weeks to get it, they will go to Walmart and get the cheaper Coleman because they're going camping this weekend. They don't need it in 2 weeks. They need it now. So we have to be aware of the impatience our customers exhibit. And our customers, this is the beauty, they're easily trained. We can train our customers. We've been trained. If you put your customer hat on and think about it just for a minute, we've been trained. We know that if we've got a really good plumber and we need a plumber, and we know that plumber only takes checks. Well, maybe I don't write checks anymore, but I'm going to write a check to this plumber because that plumber's really good and I don't want to lose that plumber. I want him to keep coming back, so I'm going to write him a check. We can train our customers how to pay us. We can train them to pay us quickly. We can train them to pay us slowly. We can train them in how to ask us for the things that they want. We can say, look, the better customers get quicker service. If you look at the first class on an airplane, people who buy first class tickets, not only do they sit up front, they get on the plane first and they get some drinky drinks when the rest of us are fumbling with our luggage. So we can train customers. We just have to be aware of how they think and how they act. One of the ways that we can do that is we need to realize that there is never just one customer out there. In every person, there are 2 customers. There are 2 customers in you. There are 2 customers in me. We have a demographic side and a psychographic side. So let's say that we have a business and we go to the library and we start to put together our profile of our customer. We say, what does my customer look like? Well, my ideal customer is going to be a woman aged 28 to 34. She has a median, a household income of $70,000. She has a college degree and she's married. Okay, if that's all I know about her, I know some good things, but I don't see the whole picture. So maybe if this woman comes to my car dealership and she says, I need a car. And I say, well, tell me about you. She says, well, I am a woman, age 28 to 34. I have a household income of $70,000. I am married with a college degree. And I say, wow, you would really enjoy this red convertible. Let's walk over and take a look at the red convertible. And as you're walking toward the red convertible, she says, and by the way, I have a 2-year-old at home. I spend about $1,500 a month online. My parents and my in-laws live 1,000 miles away, but I'm within 3 miles of you. Now, what does that tell us? Okay, maybe we need to do a U-turn and walk to the part of the lot where we sell minivans or sedans. Because if you've ever tried to squeeze a car seat into a 2-seat convertible, it's not a pleasant experience. I can imagine. I can only imagine. Doesn't look like something I would want to do on a daily basis. But what does this tell us about her? This tells us that she spends a lot of time at home, that she does not have time to go out shopping, or that the things she needs and wants are not within just a few minutes drive of her. She also doesn't have a lot of family support. Now, she may have cousins, she may have neighbors, she may have people she goes to church with or whatever who support her and can babysit and things like that. But her parents are traveling from a long distance, and when they come to visit, or she's traveling a long way to go visit them. But being within 3 miles of us, we can say, look, we're here because you're busy, because you spend a lot of time at home, you work from home or whatever, you were raising a small child. We offer pickup service. When it's time to have your oil changed and your tires rotated, we'll come get your car. We'll take care of that for you. That's a big selling point for her. Now, if we only know the psychographics about her, we might know what makes her tick. We might know what helps her make the decisions that she makes. But we don't know if she can afford anything that we have for sale. So we need to see both sides of her. We need to see both of those people in that one customer. We need to know what makes her tick, and we need to know what her demographics are so that we can know, can she afford this? Is this something that is even interesting to her? The same thing for this customer. We find out that he is a man aged 45 to 55 with household income of $55,000. He too has a college degree, but he's single. He's never been married. Okay, well, that tells us one thing, but then we find that he is also the primary caretaker of his mother, who is elderly. He has no debt. Right now, he's driving an 8-year-old car, and it's a competitor's product. Maybe what we need is to help him with both of those parts of his life. He doesn't have debt, so we want to find something that's going to help him, make those payments and get on out of debt. He doesn't like debt. That 8-year-old car, how much life does it have left in it? Did he buy that car new? Does he want to buy a used vehicle? Is this going to be a vehicle that his mother can easily get in and out of when he takes her to her appointments? So maybe he doesn't need a minivan, but he certainly doesn't look like a candidate for that red 2-seat convertible either. Maybe we're looking at an SUV or a crossover or something that is a little more comfortable, but it sits up a little higher. It's a little easier to get in and out of, fits with his income level. But again, we've got to see both sides of our customers. So when we start putting together a customer profile, we want to look at demographics, which is information you can find at the library. And you can go to any library. I can walk, and the tribal library is in our building. It will take me all of 30 seconds to walk over there. Now, they don't have stacks and stacks of business and business research books. The primary user of our library here is little children, school-age children. But this library is connected to other libraries. They have access to all of this information. They have access to everything that a university library or a large municipal library, a city library would have. All they have to do is go into their network and find it, and they can have the physical books here in a matter of days or weeks. They can bring you things that you might not otherwise think to access. So if you're not finding good information on the internet, and trust me, there's a lot of junk out there on the internet. If you're not finding it on the internet, go to your local library. Ask them if they can access 2020 census data. Ask them if they can look up advertising magazine, marketing magazines, things that will help you start to put together a profile of your customer. You want to know not only what do they earn and what, where they live and what kind of degree they have. You also want to know things like what do they read? What do they watch? What do they listen to? Who influences them? Who has their ear? When somebody says, I really like this, they say, oh, I'm going to go out and buy that because I trust that person. So who do they trust? You need to know all those things. This is the hard work, by the way. If you want to do marketing the easy way, just come up with a budget, start throwing some money out at billboards, newspaper, internet ads, whatever. That's easy. You probably won't get great results. In fact, I can almost guarantee it. But if you're willing to do the hard stuff as you're putting together a business plan and do this homework, ultimately things are going to get much easier and you're going to get far better results. In fact, we call our ideal customer an avatar, the ideal representation of your perfect customer. Now, if I'm selling Elvis jumpsuits, are you likely to buy one? I wouldn't. There's no way I'm ever going to look like Elvis, sound like Elvis, or even attempt to impersonate Elvis. I want to find that group of people who call themselves Elvis impersonators. And I don't want to just sell them a jumpsuit. I want to make them a custom-made Las Vegas Hilton jumpsuit. The avatar is your ideal representation of that one perfect customer. It's the composite. If you could only sell to one person who loves you, who trusts you, and will buy everything you sell, they will stand out in the rain to buy tickets to your show. They will build a program to set up an app to be the first person to buy tickets to your whatever online. They love you and they will tell other people about you. That's your avatar. If you can describe that person, craft your advertising and your messaging to talk to that person, you don't have to worry about trying to talk to everyone, because when you talk to that ideal representation of your perfect customer, everyone else will listen. Think about the emails that you get. Do you open the emails that say, "Dear potential customer," or do you open the emails that have your name or your nickname? Those are the ones that are personalized. You are someone's avatar. Your avatar will have motivational triggers. Again, you are someone's avatar. What motivates you? Do you have to be the first person to have this? Or do you have to have something that's durable? It's never going to wear out. Maybe you don't want to take a risk. You only want to use brands that you understand, you know, you're familiar with. Whatever motivates you to buy something, and maybe it's habit. You know, I only buy this deodorant because this is the only deodorant I've ever used and it works and I like it. It's just a habit. I'm not willing to try anything else. So sometimes habit and risk aversion go together. So what are your motivating factors for buying certain products? Now, everything that you buy is not going to have the same motivational trigger. The car you buy is not going to have the same motivational trigger as the salad mix that you buy or the milk that you buy. So think about what you sell and how it motivates others to buy. What is the trigger that you need to pull to get them excited about buying from you? Again, this is going to narrow down how you talk about your products and services. It's going to narrow down how you advertise and promote to your ideal customer. Because if you can find your ideal customer and then pull their motivational trigger, you could have a customer for life. And then it becomes easy. You just go out and find more of those. You know, when I'm out on the trail, one of my motivational triggers for food is it's got to be lightweight. When I was a Boy Scout, when I was a kid, I'd go camping with my dad and my uncle. We would take potted meat, Vienna sausages, you might say Vienna sausages in your neck of the woods. We would take cans of beans. You know, these are heavy things that you don't want to carry very far. But when I'm backpacking, I want to carry something that I can pour some hot water into, and it bulks up and it makes a nice meal, but it's super light. So I'm going to be looking for freeze-dried things. I'm going to be looking for things that are in pouches that I can eat right out of the pouch. Very easy to carry, very lightweight, get more bang for my buck. So my motivational trigger is not a can of beans and weenies. My motivational trigger is lightweight calories. You know, I'm looking for sometimes I'm looking for the new shiny because there might be a new brand out there that I haven't tried that looks really tasty. Remember, I said we all sell the same two things: solution to a problem and a good feeling. Can you think of businesses that do both? You know, back to Southwest Airlines. Southwest Airlines was, and to some degree still is, a solution to a problem. The original problem they solved was, how do I fly a commuter route between San Antonio and Dallas? Or how do I fly a commuter route between San Antonio and El Paso or something like that? Well, I just want to be able to buy a ticket, go get on a plane and fly. I don't want to have to worry about picking a seat. I don't want to worry about anything. I don't want to worry about how much is it going to cost me to check my bags. Southwest is going to give me 2 free bags. Executives that left Southwest because they thought they could do better started JetBlue. So you had another iteration of somebody trying to make airlines even better. If you remember the old ShamWow commercials, the ShamWow was that I can't remember the guy, the pitch man who did this, but it would basically soak up anything. You could wipe up any spill with the ShamWow, wring it out, use it again. And their entire infomercial was nothing but, how does the ShamWow solve a problem when you spill something? How are you going to clean it up? This is what does it. One of the greatest products that I've ever found, and I get nothing from them. I'm not a sponsor, or I'm not a pitch man for Rain-X, but Rain-X does exactly what it says on the bottle. It does exactly what it says it will do. If you coat your windshield with this and you wipe it off and you follow the directions, you may never have to use your windshield wipers ever again. It does a remarkable job. It is a solution to a problem, because nobody likes going down the road with streaky windshield wipers, or windshield wipers that can't adequately move the rain off your windshield. That's dangerous. Disney is probably, I might make some folks mad here, but they're not the greatest theme park in the world. They're not, in my opinion. I'm a coaster guy. I like roller coasters. Not going to find the best roller coasters at Disney World, but in terms of an experience, they're going to give you a great experience. And your kids are going to want to go back. You're going to want to go back. And so you're going to find that companies that focus on the experience, their branding, their vibe, everything about them brings an experience, whether it's Dove chocolates, whether it's one of the multitude of frozen yogurt shops out there now, whatever that is, they want to create a good feeling. And if you live in a tourist area where you've maybe got 3 or 4 yogurt shops, people, they can have their pick. Why would they go to one versus another? Well, they're going to go to the one that makes them feel good, the one that has the best experience, not the one where they get growled at when they walk in the door or people ignore them. So if you can do both of these things, it's a home run. You want to be able to do both, and you will be better than your competitors. So why do you need a plan? I've seen people write what I call a filing cabinet business plan. A filing cabinet business plan is the one that you write, you take it out and get the money. The bank says yes, they write you a check, and then you toss that into a filing cabinet and you never look at it again. But your business plan is essential to your success. You need it as a feasibility study. It's going to tell you, will this work? It's so much cheaper, easier, faster to play what if on paper than to just start a business on blind faith, start throwing some money at it, and hope that things work out. If your business plan says this is not going to work, your job then is to ask, why? Why business plan are you telling me that I am not going to succeed at this? Maybe your business plan is telling you, not right now. Maybe your business plan says this is not the time for this. You're ahead of the game, or maybe you're behind the curve. It's just too late. That market is over. So not right now. Maybe it's telling you not right here. Maybe your business plan says you need a bigger population. You need a demographic with a larger income. There's something about not right here that says this is not the place for this. If you're one of the large chain restaurants, Cracker Barrel, Olive Garden, Applebee's, you're gonna do what they call rooftop analysis. You're going to look at a certain area that says, hey, we'd really like to have an Olive Garden, and you're going to count the rooftops in that area in a certain distance away from the restaurant location. You're going to say, you know what, there are just not enough rooftops here. You and your friends may love us, but you're going to have to eat here every single night to keep us in business, and that's not realistic. So your business plan is going to tell you not right now, not right here, but it's also going to say not this way. Maybe there's something fundamental about your business that is missing. Well, that you can fix. Maybe you're not adding enough cash in the beginning. Maybe you're thinking that you're going to be successful in 6 months, but you're going to need 1.5 to 2 years to get there. So you need that feasibility study. Again, it's a roadmap. You can think of it as a GPS for your overall business direction. You're going to have those goals listed in there so that you can decide, are we reaching our goals? Are we getting closer? Or are we not? Finally, you want it as a communication tool. Look, if you were going to take money and invest it, if you're going to take your savings and invest it in another company, wouldn't you want to know about that company? Wouldn't you want to know that it has its act together, that it's going to be successful, it's going to stay successful? This is one of the reasons Warren Buffett invests in Coca-Cola. It's one of his major holdings, because he says, I don't know a lot about technology, but I know what Coca-Cola is going to be doing in 20 years. Yeah, they're going to have a lot of different products, but they're still going to be making Coca-Cola. I understand that. You want to be able to communicate to others what you're doing, but you also want to be able to communicate to yourself that you feel confident about doing this. Sometimes friends, family, sometimes a lender, sometimes an investor, maybe even a landlord wants to see a business plan, just to know that you've done the homework, that you've done the hard work, and that you have this figured out and you're set up for success. So Claudette says, did it backward. Love books, believed everybody would want a book. Threw all my resources in the bookstore, didn't know anything about retailing. Yes, learning is a good thing. And don't be discouraged that if you've already started without doing some of these things, you can always go back. There is no linear process here. There is no law that says, well, you've skipped this, you're doomed. It's not so. You can always fix things that you've missed in the past and make your business even stronger. So what goes into the plan? Well, it's very simple. Who are you? Who will sell what to whom? Where, at what cost, and for what price? Now we're going to go back and cover these a little bit, but this is your essential business plan. This is it right here. Who will sell what to whom, where, at what cost, and for what price? So who are you? If you don't blow your own horn, there's no music. You need to be able to talk about yourself, your skills, training, education, everything about you. Describe why you believe you and your team, if you have one, are uniquely positioned to make this business successful. Who will sell what? And again, we're going to go back to the two things we all sell. You want to talk about the technical attributes of the product or service. Fine, everybody can do that, but you're also going to add the problem you solve and the good feeling you create. That's going to set your business plan apart. That's going to help people get interested in reading your business plan. Who are you selling to, or whom, I guess my 9th grade English teacher would tell. To whom are you selling? You need to be able to describe your avatar. You need to demonstrate a clear understanding of your target customer. Who is that person who loves you, trusts you, and can't get enough of you? And what other markets can you serve, or will you look at serving in the future? Don't try to be all things to all people right out of the gate. Pick a lane, get in it, stay in it, do really well at it, get really good at it, and then you can start, selling other types of baseball gloves. Where will you be? What geographic region will you serve? Do you have a radius? Now, this is where an old tool from elementary and middle school, maybe high school, is going to come back into play. If you remember the compass, that little compass that had a pencil on one end, it looked like a V or an A, depending on which way you held it, and it's got a little pointy end. Well, that compass is going to be your friend. If I own a convenience store or bodega in Brooklyn, New York, my radius might be a 2 or 3 block radius. That's it. I don't really care what happens in Manhattan. I don't care what happens in upstate New York. I certainly don't care what happens in Florida or Utah. I just don't care. That's not my world. So I'm going to put the tip of that compass on where I'm located, and I'm going to draw a circle. Maybe I am an electrician, and I know that I'm only going to drive up to 2 hours to visit clients. Or I'm a roofer, and I'm only going to drive as far as 3 hours to do new roofs. So what I want to do is I want to move that pencil out to a 3-hour trip, and I'm going to draw a big circle. Everything in that circle is my world. Everything in that circle is who I serve. Now, if you're going to distribute through UPS, FedEx, the mail, any other service like that, you could be anywhere. You don't have to necessarily worry about your radius. But where do you want to deliver? Do you want to deliver only domestically, or do you want to deliver internationally? One of the things people don't think about is that if you're going to deliver, you're going to set up a website and you're going to deliver within the U.S. Well, the U.S. also includes Alaska and Hawaii, and they don't do ground delivery to those two states. You have to pay for 2-day or next day air. Sometimes your shipping gets expensive. So if you're telling people I'm offering $4 shipping and it's going to cost you $40 to ship it to Hawaii, well, you're going to eat that cost. So just be very careful. Where are you located? And what does it cost you? This is one of the Shark Tank's favorite questions, by the way. They always like to ask people, what is your cost structure? And what is your price? They want an idea of, do you understand what your cost structure is? How much money does it take to get your product developed, built, stored, insured, packaged, and into the customer's hands? You have to understand that, and that is going to take some work. You don't want to drop the ball on that, because if you do, something's going to sneak up and bite you, and it's going to cost you a lot of money. Be prepared. If I know that I'm going on a backpacking trip and I'm going to be away from water sources for a certain amount of time or a certain distance, I need to know how much water to carry so that I make it to the next water source. What is your pricing strategy? Now, your pricing is one of the most critical decisions you can make for your business. I'm going to implore you, please get some help. If you have a native CDFI close by, they can help you. If your tribe has an economic development office or finance office, sometimes somebody there can help you. If you have a small business development center close to you, maybe a university or a community college, or even a business teacher at the high school, somebody can help you. You want another set of eyes on your pricing strategy and your pricing structure to help you make the right decisions. Because if you get it wrong, it could end your business before it has a chance to get started. So get some help with this one. Do you want to be a budget priced item? Do you want to be a luxury level? Do you want to offer a subscription where you're sending out the same thing every month? And my wife has found these chips that are made from chickpeas or something, and she has a box sent to her every month, and she goes through them. She eats them. She loves them. They're healthier than potato chips, and it's a subscription, and they're guaranteed they're going to get their money because they're going to send us a box. And if she doesn't eat them, then she's got extras, right? So you have to decide, where are you going to be on that spectrum, and how are you going to price? And here is I should have put the letter A in front of this, a business plan outline. There's not one perfect business plan. There's no perfect business plan outline. Your business plan is going to be as unique as your business, but it's going to contain some common themes. It's going to contain some common sections. Your concept overview. We're going to talk about your concept overview in just a second. We're going to, by the way, the 6 questions that we just answered: who will sell what to whom, where, at what cost, and what price. That's your executive summary. It's the last thing you need to write, but it's the first thing people will see. One page gets people interested, and then they can read the rest of your plan. Describe your product or service, and we've talked about how to do that, right? More than just a technical description. Your market description and your customer profile. What does that avatar look like? The market outlook says, how friendly is the economy going to be to my product? Is this a long-term trend, or is this one of those fads, and I just need to make all the money I can in the next 6 months and get out. What does the market look like? I mean, look, even newspapers are trying to get out of the newspaper business. So is it the right thing to do to start a newspaper at this time? I'm not going to say it's not, but I'm not going to say it is. What's the competitive landscape look like? Are there others out there doing what you're doing? Well, let's stop here and think. You have two types of competitors. Your competitive landscape is going to be made up of direct competitors. Competitors who look like you, think like you, act like you, do what you do, and try to get the same customers you're trying to get. It's the Chevy versus Ford. It's the Coke versus Pepsi. It's the United versus Delta. It's the Southwest versus JetBlue. Those direct competitors are easy to spot because they look like us. But you also have indirect competitors. So I'm going to pick on Claudette just for a second. So Claudette, maybe you don't have another bookstore within 100 miles. But if people have access to Amazon, Barnes & Noble, you have online competitors. Those are easy to spot. They can also go online and just download some free books. There are a lot of older classics that are in the public domain. And they can go to a website and just download those for free. They don't even need to buy them. So if I sell, if I have an Italian restaurant, if you open an Italian restaurant across town, you're my direct competitor. But if you're a grocery store that sells Stouffer's lasagna and somebody's tired, it's after work, they just want to throw something in the microwave and eat it. They're not having the best lasagna in town, but they're having lasagna. So that's an indirect competitor. We have to acknowledge all of those. We have to know where those are. We have to outline our management qualifications. Again, who are you? What qualifies you to do this? What makes you the person to make this business successful? Now, we're going to talk about business structure, risk analysis, location, and financial projections in just a moment. But I kind of wanted to throw this out there to show you that, you've got a basic outline that you can follow. And you may have more things in one section, less things in another section. I am not a big fan of business plan writing software because sometimes it makes you write the same thing in multiple sections. And you really don't need to do that. Write it once and you're done. You don't have to tell the same story twice. Or as a friend of mine used to say, you don't have to chew your cabbage twice. I do want to mention risk analysis here for just a second, because this is one of those things that we did say we're going to go into, but I don't really have a specific slide about it. But I want you to be thinking about all the different types of risk your business could incur. Well, there's financial risk. You could lose your money. You could lose somebody else's money. There's market risk. Tastes, trends, they change. There's always a risk that what's popular today won't be popular tomorrow. You have legislative risk. If you're in an industry that is maybe a little bit risky or something that politicians are not too keen on, sometimes they can just legislate you right out of business, or they can make it very difficult or unappealing for you to do business. You can have regulatory risk where you've got now OSHA or the EPA making it very unsavory for you to be in that type of business. You also have what I call inherent risk. Inherent risk is risk that is baked into your business model. So if I have a roofing company or a tree company and I have people climbing and moving around, where they can drop things, they can hurt themselves, they can hurt someone else, they can damage property, that's an inherent risk. And we need to be able to acknowledge all the different types of risk that exist in our business. One of the things that I recommend folks do is sit down with 2 or 3 different insurance companies and talk to them about this. Talk to them about your business. Chances are they're going to think of a type of risk or a source of risk that maybe you've not thought about. 9 times out of 10, small businesses can wrap a lot of different types of insurance into what's called a small business owner's policy. Let me put that in here. If I could type, I'd be dangerous. A small business owner's policy will package a lot of things together to make it very affordable for you to do that. But part of risk analysis is insurance. Part of risk analysis is just good management. Part of risk analysis is going to be your business structure. And I want to talk about that for just a second. Your business structure is going to be what separates your business assets from your personal assets. I cannot tell you how to structure your business. I'm not an attorney. I recommend that everyone have 2 conversations. Have a conversation with an attorney, and this doesn't need to be your cousin who practices divorce law. This needs to be somebody who practices contract law, sets up small businesses. Get a referral. Go talk to that person. Even if you have to pay that lawyer for an hour of his or her time, it's going to be time well spent. Talk to them about your business and about what you want to do. Let them make some recommendations. The other person you want to talk to is going to be a CPA, a certified public accountant. A CPA is going to be able to tell you from a tax exposure perspective what they recommend. And then you go from there. It's up to you how you structure your business, but you want to be able to separate yourself as much from risk as possible. So let's talk about what to leave out. I'm not going to go into all of these, but let's talk about jargon. I've talked about trying to be all things to all people. Jargon is okay. Industry jargon, the acronyms and things that you use, the alphabet things that you use for your industry, those are fine, but explain the first time you use it, explain what it means so that as you use it throughout your plan, the reader will understand. You have to assume that we as readers of your plan, we know nothing. We may know a lot about your business, but you have to assume that we know nothing. I've talked about repeating. Say it once and you're done. We don't want to be too optimistic about the market size. I'd rather people be realistic about market size and show me how you're going to adapt to the market size. Inconsistency is simply a matter of I sat down and wrote part of this plan, and then I got busy, and it took me a month to sit down and write the other part of this plan. And so what I wrote on page 6 doesn't match up with what I wrote on page 12. You want to leave the guesses out of it. You want to use language that is strong and confident. You don't ever want to say, we think we might be able to do this. No, you want to say, based on our research and experience, we believe we will blank. Okay. If you don't use bold, confident language, the reader is not going to feel bold and confident. A friend of mine named Dave, we were scheduled to go on a backpacking trip. We were going to be gone 3 days, and we were going to be deep in the wilderness. And our group of guys had charged Dave. It was his turn to pick the trail. And we meet at the trailhead. We put on our gear, and hey, Dave, where are we going? And he points and he says, that way. I'm like, okay, what trail, Dave? Where are we going? Because we're going to be without cell service. We're not going to, you're not going to be able to find us with a satellite or a helicopter or anything. Where are we going? He said, that way. Now, if I didn't know Dave, there's no way I would believe his plan. But I knew Dave, and I knew that Dave had probably been that way before. And sure enough, we had a great camping trip. We had a great pack in and a great pack out. It was great weather. The whole thing worked out. But if I didn't know Dave, there's no way I would believe that it's okay for us to just go that way. When your reader reads your business plan, they're not going to be able to read your mind, and they may not have the same level of confidence in you that I had in my friend Dave. Don't ever underestimate the competition. Even bad competitors can eat your lunch if they're determined, and if they have a strong enough customer base, and if they're financially secure. Your language is going to convey confidence. If you can't sell what your idea is, then how are we supposed to believe in you? Be bold. Read your plan from back to front and look for instances where you're using what I would call wishy-washy language. Language that says, I'm not real confident in what I'm saying here. Those things, when you read it from the back of the plan to the front, will start to pop out. Leave out your personal data. I've seen business plans that look like resumes. My birthday is this. I'm 64 years old. I do that. People don't need to know that any more than they need to know that when you are applying for a job. Harlan Sanders was 65 years old when he started Kentucky Fried Chicken. Now, if he'd gone to a bank and said, I want to borrow a bunch of money and I want to pay it back over 20 years, the bank might have said no. They might have said, hey, you'll be 85 years old when this loan comes due. So no, he focused on the chicken. He focused on the recipe and he focused on sales and getting customers. You may want to include a non-disclosure statement if you have proprietary information in your business plan. The vast majority of business plans I've read are not state secrets. They don't contain nuclear codes. When you start putting non-disclosure statements in plans, a lot of times a lender or an investor will just stop. They just won't read it. But if you have some technology or if you have something in there that you absolutely want to protect, if it's patented or whatever, or patentable, you can include a non-disclosure statement. It's kind of why I dropped it down here to the bottom. That's a judgment call on your part. But don't think that just because you're going to start a gift basket store in a town with 4 other gift basket stores that's a super secret idea. No need to put the non-disclosure statement in there. All right, we're going to prepare for the journey. If I just say write a business plan, where do you start? This would be like me asking my 101-year-old, my great grandmother passed when she was 101 years old, and she was sharp as a tack all the way to her last day. And if I had said, tell me about your life, well, where in the world would she start? She'd seen 101 years. But if I asked her, tell me about your first child. She had 12, by the way, 12 children. Tell me about your first child. Tell me about the time you met my great-grandfather. What I'm doing is giving her scraps to start that story. Well, you want to do the same thing. You want to use Evernote, Google Drive, Google Docs, Google Keep. You want to use an old-fashioned file folder, something that's going to help you when you clip articles, when you see internet articles, when you see something relevant to your business that you might want to use in your business plan. Go ahead and file that away. Oh, and by the way, let me jump back here. Here's your index. This is the title to each one of those files. Drop something of use into each one of these files. And when you start to write your business plan, you don't have to start from scratch. You have scraps that will help you get going. You want to make sure you schedule time to write your business plan and set some deadlines. Use a kitchen timer. I have a friend who loves Jeopardy, but he hates Wheel of Fortune. And that's how he wrote his book. He wrote a bestseller because when he heard Wheel of Fortune come on, he turned his television off and he wrote for 30 minutes. And he said on most days he could write about a page in 30 minutes. Now his motivation was that in a half an hour, Jeopardy was going to come on. And he would stop writing and he would watch Jeopardy. So he had this incentive, he had a deadline, he had a timer, and he had a reward to help him write his book. And in a year, he had a little over 365 pages. He edited it down to about 340 pages, and the rest is history. So set yourself some goals. Don't think that you have to sit down this weekend and write your entire business plan. This Star Wars looking character here on the left is my daughter. She's hiking in Patagonia, and her friend behind her, it looks happy. She looks happy, but her friends were ill prepared. You know, at Patagonia, you're a stone's throw away from Antarctica, and my daughter has been out in the wilderness enough with me to know that you plan for the good, the bad, and the ugly. You take the jacket, you take the scarf, you plan to be cold when you think it's going to be warm. And these other folks, well, bless their hearts, they saw sun, they thought it was going to be warm that day. The ugly fellow on the right is my buddy Keith. He and I have been friends for better than a quarter century, and about 27 years now. And Keith was one of the only ones who planned for rain this day. We all had rain gear, but Keith actually saw it coming. That when I took this picture, he was just sitting there waiting for it to start raining, and he was right. His weather prediction was spot on. But you have to prepare for everything. Now, what a lot of people do is they write a business plan based on their best case. If you are going to get my attention, what I want to see is, what does the best case look like? But what does the worst case look like as well? Your business plan is going to be somewhere right down the middle, but I want to know that you're prepared for what happens if you don't have the customers you think you're going to have. What happens if you don't get the amount of money you think you're going to get? Let's find that worst case. And if you can survive, if you can prove on paper that you can survive your worst case, then we're golden. We're good to go. Show me that you've got your rain gear, and let's hit the trail. So let's talk about finding your funding. The numbers here are important. You might even want to write down the number 15 somewhere. 15 is going to be the maximum length of your business plan. Any longer, and you're probably saying too much. Mark Twain once wrote a letter to a friend and said, "I would have written you a shorter letter, but I didn't have time." He knew that editing for brevity, cutting everything down to its most key elements, was hard. And it is. It's much easier to write a 25-page business plan than to write a 15-page business plan. But you want to tailor your plan to your reader. The reason you want to keep it at 15 is, look, if it's a 100-page business plan, nobody's going to read it. So it's not going to do you or anybody else any good. Focus on your reader. Tailor it to what they want to see. If they want to see cash flow, be heavy on the cash flow. If they want to see your customer definition and your avatar, be heavy on that. You're going to focus on what's in it for me, WIFM. Everybody listens to the same radio station when it comes to this. If they're reading your plan, what is their motivational trigger? Are they going to give you money? Are they going to support you in some other way? Do they have a retail space that is for lease? What does that look like? You want to highlight your cash flow and your return on investment for the reader. Now, your working plan is going to be very brief. It's going to be one page, but it's going to be for you. It's going to be the thing that guides you on a daily basis. You might even want to stick it on the refrigerator. It's something that you can look at to keep you constantly on the trail. If you're familiar with the business planning canvas or the lean business canvas, go look that up, check that out. You can print out worksheets that will help you do that. It becomes a one-page working plan for your business that keeps you focused. You also want to think about what does your brand look like? Your brand it's what people know about you when you're not around. If I look at a pair of tennis shoes and I see a Nike swoosh, I know certain things about that brand. If I see the 3 stripes of Adidas, I know certain things about that brand. If I see the McDonald's Golden Arches, I know certain things about that brand. And you're making 2 promises to everybody through your brand. One is explicit. Explicit says, this is what we're going to give you. The implicit promise is maybe you have a picture that promises something. You don't even have to say it. If you've ever been on vacation, when you thought you were going to have an ocean view, and then you got to your room or to your villa, and yes, if you lean way out over the balcony and crane your neck, you can see a little bit of the ocean. Did they lie to you? Technically, no. But do you feel lied to? Absolutely, you do. So you make the explicit and the implicit promise in every brand. There are things that you can control and things that you can't control. You can control how you message about your brand, how you talk about your brand. You can control how you control quality, things like that. You can't always control what people say about you. So what does it mean to have a sustainable brand? How does a brand become sustainable? Well, it's commitment. It's commitment to your values. If you don't start with the things that we talked about an hour and 20 minutes ago, then you're not going to have to worry about it building a sustainable brand, because you won't get to that point. Build your brand on your values. If you say that we are only going to use locally sourced produce, then you use only locally sourced produce. If you say that we are only going to use cruelty-free this or that, then you need to hold to that. That's how you build trust, and that's how you become sustainable. These are brands that we've all seen, that we know of. There's the Nike swoosh, the McDonald's golden arches. You have certain concepts, you have certain images in your mind when you see brands. Some might be good, some might be bad, might be positive, might be negative, might be indifferent. You might look at a brand and say, I want to know more about that. What is that? But each one of these businesses has a concept. And remember, I said we're going to go over the concept overview. McDonald's, burgers, fries, shakes. Mercedes, luxury cars. Now, they've also, during other periods of their existence, they've done other things, but they don't make tents. They don't make dishwashers. They make cars. H&R Block, taxes. They've become a trusted source of having your taxes done. Every brand that you encounter is going to tell you something. You need to ask yourself, what is my concept in this? If I am Enterprise Rent-A-Car, my concept is that I will come and pick you up. That's something nobody else does. What sets you apart from everyone else? You have some marks of distinction that you can put on your company, that you can put on your small business. I'm not going to go through all of these because our time's running a little bit short, but I want you to be thinking about, how are you going to be distinct so that you don't become extinct? Well, you're going to focus on that overt benefit. You're going to hit people with that 2x4 right between the eyes that says, this is the overt benefit and you can't ignore it. This is what we do for you, and nobody else does this for you. You need to know more than the other guys. Remember, your client, your customers all have the world's knowledge at their fingertips, but you have to know more than your competitors. You have to be more educated about your products and services, about your market, about your trends, things like that. You need to learn how to sell. Now, I know this doesn't sit well with people because not everybody's a salesperson, but if you don't learn how to sell, there's not a lot that's going to happen. You can't wait around for people to order from you. You have to learn how to say, would you like to wear this out, or would you like for me to box it up for you? Something as simple as that can make all the difference in putting money in the cash register. Finally, you need to be the solution and not the problem. There are a lot of companies out there that say, yes, we offer a warranty. It's going to take you 3 days to do the warranty paperwork. There are other companies that say, we will handle the warranty paperwork for you and we'll send you the finalized documents and you don't worry about a thing. One is being the problem and one is being the solution. What are your customers looking for? Again, we're going to put on our customer hat for just a moment. We're all looking for quality. We want stuff to be good. We want it to work. We want the results. We want it to work every time. So we're looking for consistency. This, whether you like a Big Mac or not, a Big Mac at a McDonald's in Boston tastes the same as a Big Mac in Burbank, California, or Boca Raton, Florida. Big Mac is a Big Mac. It's fuel, not food, but it is consistent. And we want what we want when we want it. So we're looking for capacity. We want to know that you can get this to us. We want to know that you can answer the phone and respond to us quickly. And we're looking for recovery. When you mess things up, we want to know that you're willing to fix it, own up to it, take care of us. All of these things create what I call marketing gravity. Marketing gravity is the thing that pulls people to you. If you produce quality, consistency, capacity, and you show people that you can recover, that you own your problems, and you're going to fix what's wrong, people will gravitate toward you. You don't have to stand on the rooftops and shout at people, come here and buy from us. They will start to seek you out. When we start to think about sustainability and how long we're going to be around, we have to look at Japanese companies. There are companies in Japan that have been around for well over 700 years. Most of those are sake manufacturers and hotels, inns, accommodations. A lot of these old businesses, along with some restaurants, have been around for hundreds of years. They've been in the same family for hundreds of years. One of the reasons they've been around for so long is a commitment to family ownership, making sure that the next generation has something to look forward to and that the next generation is prepared to take over and run the business. The next thing that really helps propel these businesses to hundreds and hundreds of years is something I just wrote this in the chat. It's called Kaizen. Kaizen is the Japanese philosophy of continuous improvement. If we are not thinking of ways to continuously improve, get better, do better, be better, our business can die right out from under us. But Kaizen says, I'm always going to improve. That way the business is always going to be around. Let's talk about how lenders see you. We're in the final home stretch here. Lenders are going to look at you using what's called the 5 C's. Do you pay your bills? Can you generate some cash? Is the economy favorable to your business or to your industry? Do you have enough capital, or can you get enough capital to do this? And you have some collateral to back it up so that if things go wrong, we can take that collateral and sell it to help pay down your loan. That's how traditional lenders see you. More and more, though, in the native CDFI world, among our 70 or some odd native CDFIs, we are starting to adopt something that the Indian Collective came up with. And I've put their website here if you want to learn more about the Indian Collective.org. Is the 5 R's of native lending. Is this business built on relationships? Is your business rooted in community and rooted in community values? Is your business restorative? Is it building people up, or is it tearing down? Is it just about the next dollar, or is it about restoring the economy, the local economy, restoring people's jobs, restoring faith in your industry, those kinds of things? Is it regenerative? Is your business going to be able, and this kind of goes with cash flow, is your business going to be able to generate enough cash, to generate enough business to continue, not just for this generation, but to be around for the next 700 years? And revolutionary. Revolutionary doesn't mean that it's world changing. You know, Southwest Airlines was not revolutionary in that it created a new type of airplane. It created a new type of air travel. What it did was it was revolutionary, and it created a new experience. Sometimes that's all you need to do, is make things a little bit better than everybody else. And that's revolutionary. I'm going to leave this with you because I've already talked about your plan. We're going to talk about, we've talked about getting your financial house in order. You want to check your credit score. You want to know what that report says about you. How do you get your financial house in order? You want to have everything ready so that when you approach a lender, you've got this, what I call the packing list together. Everything that they want to see is there. The quicker you can get them information, the faster they can have a decision for you. There are 4 different basic places you can find money. One is traditional. We know these. They're banks, credit unions. Credit unions generally don't lend a lot of money to small businesses unless you are a veteran. If you're a veteran, I highly recommend you check out Navy Federal Credit Union. They do a lot more small business lending than other credit unions. They have proven themselves to be very small business friendly. They're great to work with. I do highly recommend them. But you might also find that you go to a bank and they say, well, we can't do a traditional loan, but there might be some government guarantees out there, like an SBA Express or another type of bank guarantee. You might have a tribe that has a revolving loan fund that you could tap into. You might have friends and family, the bank of FFA, friends, family, and acquaintances, somebody who can help you. I'm going to steer you away from credit cards. I put credit cards on there, but they are dangerous. They're expensive. The money that is easiest to get is often the hardest to pay back. Fast money equals a long payback. So be very careful with getting fast money. Now, again, I'm going to put a little plug in for us native CDFIs. We're out there. If your tribe does not have a CDFI, talk to somebody in your tribal government about what is the possibility we could start a native CDFI here. The Native CDFI Network in Grand Island, Nebraska. We also have an office in Washington, D.C. We're here to help tribes get those CDFIs started. But don't be afraid to lease something. If you need a copier or if you need a truck, don't be afraid to lease those things. They could help. All right, we're going to talk about the pitch. I'm going to go through this real quickly because it looks like we're about out of time. Deal with people you have a relationship with and build relationships before you ask for money. There's an old saying that if you want advice, ask for money. But if you want money, ask for advice. When you start meeting with lenders and investors and telling them about your project and about your plans, they start to believe in you, and it makes it so much easier for them to think about giving you money. Remember what's in it for them. They have self-interest that they're focused on. You have now the outline of a business plan that will help you talk about your story. And that's really all your business plan is. Be confident when you tell your story and practice it. Drive your kids crazy. Recite your speech, recite your pitch, and try to do so in about 3 to 5 minutes. How long a YouTube video are you willing to watch? Well, most people, that's about a 3 to 5 minute video. If you can tell the story of your business and your business concept in about 3 to 5 minutes, now you'll get somebody's attention. You'll certainly get mine. Now, finally, the last thing that I told you about, we're going to make some people unhappy. The best business education you're ever going to get is a no. If somebody tells you no, ask them why. If they turn you down for a loan, if they turn you down for a lease, if they turn you down for anything, ask why. Then go back to your business plan and fix it. It may take you some time to do that, but no is not always a forever no. So the more no's you get, the stronger your plan and the stronger your business will be. I'm going to preach at you here just a little bit. I want you to eat right and stay hydrated. If you don't keep your energy up, you're never going to make the trip. Set a routine, maintain that routine. When you have a daily routine, a weekly routine, you're going to build in time to write your plan. You're going to build in time to talk to prospective customers and lenders. And predictability helps reduce your stress. I encourage you, try for a week, set out a uniform. Wear the same colored shirt and same colored pants every day. You'll find that, wow, how much time do you save when you don't have to think about what you're wearing that day? And invest in a hobby. Do something to get your head out of the business. I'll say this too. If you're building a business from a hobby, you might need to think about a new hobby because your hobby's not going to be your hobby anymore. It's not going to be as much fun. So I think starting businesses is a great deal of fun. It's a lot of fun, but it is work. So find a diversion. That way you can get your head out of it for a little bit and rejuvenate and renew yourself. If you have any questions, we're here at the end of the trail. I'm sweaty. I've been rained on. I'm exhausted. I got my Harris Cherokee Casino shirt on, and I'm pooped out. And I know that you are too, because we flew through this material. We went through it really fast. But here's how you can connect with me. The deal that I make with everybody I do a webinar for, and that includes the Native Learning Center, is that you always have an open line to me. Contact me, ask me questions. If I can't help you, I'm going to point you in the right direction. And again, I'm honored that you would choose to spend the last hour and a half with me. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Russ. I just went ahead and launched today's feedback report. If everyone would like to go ahead and fill that out, it is anonymous. It helps out Russ a great deal. It lets him know what you guys would like to know on the next webinar or anything you'd like him to touch back on. He'll be more than happy to do that. Our next webinar is going to be April 17th, the home selling process for tribal members, presented by Marie Bonville, Tribal Housing and Education Consultant. As always, registration is free. It'll be at 2 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Central, 12 p.m. Mountain, 11 a.m. Pacific, and 10 a.m. Alaska time. As always, you can access this recording and any of our other webinar recordings on our website at www.nativelearningcenter.com. under the Recorded Cathedra tab. You can access any of our recordings up to 2 years, and if you need help finding a recording, please feel free to email me. Please check out our upcoming events on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, and Twitter. We also have a podcast called Hopathanga Native American Podcast, and you can find that on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, and Pandora. Thank you for joining us for today's webinar, and thank you so much, Russ. I hope everybody has a wonderful day. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.